Ladies and gentlemen, does everybody have their appearance slips filled out and turned in up here? If you're an applicant, you do not need to fill one out. We're going to get started here. We got one more member in the bathroom. We're waiting for you, Dale.
Thanks, Ron.
You're welcome.
Morning, Captain. Morning, guys.
Well, we're waiting for him to get set up. I want to make the announcement right now and looking at a few things in the new business. I am not going to allow any public comment. It's just going to be the committee to be able to discuss on that. So. All right, I call this Sawyer County Zoning Committee meeting to order. Roll call, Kathy, please.
Ron Buckholz.
Here.
Tweed Schuman.
Here.
Kay Wilson. Here. Dale Magnuson. Here. Marshall Savitsky.
Here.
Steve Carriennen.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, statement of committee and public hearing procedures and statement of hearing notice. A full statement of the committee and hearing procedure document, including directions for individuals wishing to speak at the public hearing to be conducted at this zoning committee meeting, are available on the information table in the back of the room next to the agendas today's meeting. A statement of committee and hearing procedure documents is hereby incorporated into the record for this committee meeting. Any public hearing conducted at today's committee meeting has been published as a Class 2 notice in accordance with Chapter 85 of the Wisconsin Statutes, 985, in the Sawyer County Record and Sawyer County Gazette on March 4th and 11th of 2026. Okay, the next is approval of minutes of the previous board meeting or committee meeting.
I'll make that motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Carriennen. And Mr. Schuman?
I'll second that motion.
And a second by
Chairman.
Mr. Schuman to approve the previous minutes of the zoning committee meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries to approve. You know, public comment is, a time to give the public a chance to speak. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but if you can just keep it to the 3 minutes, I appreciate it.
First up for public comment, we have Linda Zomer.
Linda Zolmer, resident of the Village of Birchwood, but fourth-generation property owner in Edgewater. And since there will be no public comment allowed under new business, I hope I might be extended some time for the items that I have listed on my form.
Yes.
The first one is revocation of conditional use permits by the zoning committee. Appendix D of the Code of Ordinances, Section 8, I believe it is, requires that the zoning committee revoke conditional use permits, that they just don't expire. So I'm referencing conditional use permit 24-15, which this committee approved on a 4-to-1 vote in August of 2024. the zoning, your ordinances require that the permits and things be complied with within 12 months. There were no land use permits, no sanitary permits, and in the fall of 2025, just prior to the Cranberry Festival, the property owner attempted to site 2 shipping containers there in which to conduct business to serve the people that showed up for Cranberry Festival. The town did not approve that. Later, late in 2025, construction started on the building. A foundation was poured and the utilities put in, again without land use permits or sanitary permits. And if you drive past Highway 2027 and 70, what you will see is a very large framed-in building. In December of 2025, the applicant sold the property. And at that time, the back taxes for 2024 were due, and as of January, the first installment of 2025 were not paid. So it requires this zoning committee to revoke that conditional use permit for all the reasons I required, so I ask that that be on a future agenda. Second is I have often suggested that this committee, when there's a turnover in, because of the 2-year elections, that there not be either hearings held on the Friday or that the new seated zoning committee members get full training before they make important decisions. I think that would also be beneficial that if a newly seated zoning committee had full training to allow them to make the decision whether a zoning ordinance rewrite is required or not, and to fully understand the implications of that. And so that leads me into, I do not believe that, I think the only person that I have heard suggest that Sawyer County needs a totally new zoning ordinance has been the zoning administrator. And there's a lot of been questions and concerns, and I don't think this county committee should be the only ones deciding that. I think if basically the whole county is up for being rezoned and new rules, every county board supervisor should have a say-so. And when there are things like this solar energy ordinance that comes up, there are a lot of inconsistencies in there as to the zone districts even where these conditional use permits would be allowed. So for instance, I believe it was the intention of the agricultural 1 zone district to be the zone district where farmland preservation agreements might be held. And I don't know that solar farms are consistent with that. So I would say that you probably, if that's true, you would not want to put them in A1. There's also inconsistencies in that they're not listed as a conditional use in forestry, but the battery systems are listed in forestry. There's also a number of requirements once you get into the agreements that are required. The permits required, the conditional use permits required, but then there's other agreements that are not required to be submitted at that time, but only prior to construction. So there's a lot to discuss. I think this warrants maybe just a special meeting where you could invite the town so we can all understand what this is. And then lastly, with regard to, I do not believe that the committee or the county board is ready to move forward with a total zoning ordinance rewrite or to even award the bid. According to the bid document from the Northwest Regional Planning, they cited I think it's Iron County, and that was in the early 2000s. It wasn't even recent. Last year, I talked with Sheldon Johnson in conjunction with them updating the comprehensive plan for the village of Birchwood. And I understand that their staff does not take zoning training, because I had questions about some of the things that were being done in the village, which then they had to research. And also Northwest Regional Planning does not have legal staff on there to ensure that whatever they recommend is up to both the current state statutes as well as case law. So I think that would also require outside counsel here. And I think that until this committee or the future committee that sits in April fully understands what they're taking on, please don't award that bid. I mean, it's not like anybody, Northwest Regional Planning is going to be here. They're not going anywhere. Thank you.
All right, anyone else out there want to speak on public comment? Anybody online? Jay?
Anyone online wishing to make public comment?
Okay, thank you.
Moving on, this is a public hearing in the town of Round Lake, rezone number 26-006, owner James Sokup and Sydney Ringheim, part of government lot 3, lot 1 of CSM number 8081. It is tax ID 44319. It is 5.28 total acres zoned agricultural 1 and residential recreational 1. Purpose of the request is to rezone approximately 3.49 acres of agricultural 1 to residential recreational 1 to conform the parcel all to the residential recreational 1 zone district. As part of my staff report, again, see additional maps included within the packet. The applicant is requesting to rezone approximately 3.49 acres of Ag 1 to RR1. In conversations with the applicant, they are interested in further subdividing the property. The property can already be subdivided along the lake shore, but the current A1 zone district area would only allow for one of the lake shore lots to be able to have the rest of the Ag 1 zone district. With a potential rezone of the 3.49 acres, the RR1 lakeshore lots would be able to have a greater depth to them and would eliminate a substandard size A1 zone district area. It is unknown why this area was originally zoned to Ag 1 and the surrounding A1 zone districts are completely wooded. There is no agricultural use occurring in this immediate vicinity. The town of Round Lake comprehensive plan, future land use maps show this area as private forest. Private forest is defined by the town or areas in the town where they've seen a growth in residential development in forested areas and anticipates this growth to continue. It is further recommended from the town that these areas are to promote low-density development with a minimum of 5 acres per single-family dwelling. It is important to mention that the majority of the surrounding lakeshore properties in this area are also defined as future private forest, with most of the properties currently not containing a minimum of 5 acres and currently zoned RR1. Whether the property is rezoned or not, the current lot configuration would allow for the creation of 2 lakeshore lots. It is the additional rezone which is needed to create larger depths to these lots. The town's recommendation of the proposed rezone should be highly considered for approval or denial consideration. As by motion of the town board, motion was approved. James Stramlin, town chair, Dan Palmer, supervisor, Kay Wilson, supervisor, Darren Jensen, supervisor, Marvin Scott Verbrecht, supervisor. Town board and the town of Round Lake recommends approval of the requesting rezone of 26006 submitted by James Sokup and Sydney Righeim. The board reviewed the request to rezone approximately 3.49 acres of agricultural 1 to residential recreational 1 in order to bring the entire parcel into consistent zoning classification. In making its decision, the board considered the application materials, plan commission report, county staff report information, and public comment received both in writing and at the meeting. The board noted that the parcel is currently split zoned and that the surrounding area is largely wooded and that there is no active agricultural use occurring in the immediate vicinity. The board also considered that the town's future land use maps identify this area as private forest, where residential development has occurred and is anticipated to continue. While concerns were raised by the neighboring property owners that there is an ongoing border review of split zone parcels within the town, the board determined that the request is consistent with the character of the area and the long-term land use patterns. The town board further found that the request satisfies findings of facts number 2, 3, and 7, as it encourages planned and orderly land use development, supports the protection of property values and property tax base, and promotes the use of land consistent with its characters and adaptability. Signed, Frank Lucian, town clerk. There were 8 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. 0 additional comments were received. That is all.
Okay, all right. I need a motion to go into public hearing on rezone number 26-006,
I'll
please.
make a motion, Chairman, that we go into public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman and a second by Ms. Wilson to go into public hearing on rezone 26-006. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We are now in public hearing. Is the applicants here? Want to step
This
forward?
message has been transcribed. One moment.
James Sokup, 10725 Forest Gate Lane, Hayward, Wisconsin.
I could not get into that meeting.
Me either.
That's Laura. That's Laura Rusk. I got her. Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. I'll start off today essentially with the A1 district that's currently on our property is incorrect. there is no ag there, and the future will not be ag. So I think that's probably, obviously, that's one of the biggest points that's going on. And I'm not actually certain what the complete history is of why the zoning is incorrect, but it certainly is. When I went and spoke with Jay about this issue, this was sort of my, I said, well, Jay, what do we do for relief? And this is the plan to go forward, to find the relief, to get the A1 zoning district changed and make it correct. Of the roughly 700 properties or so that are on Round Lake, this property, you could see from where the A1 district begins to the waterfront is 225 feet away. It is the closest, I believe, agricultural district to Round Lake itself of the 700. So we're talking about 225 feet to where there'd be an ag district next to Round Lake. This change would bring the entirety of the property to a single uniform zoning district. This change will correct and eliminate a substandard ag lot. This change expands the area that we would be able to include in what would be a lakefront lot. We are planning for our future. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do, whether we're going to, and to be clear, this property's been in my wife's family for 56 years. That's how long she's actually been there. And we'd like to leave a legacy to our children. And part of this would be making some land that we would be able to give to them. That's a really salient point here. I think there was some discussion from some of the neighbors, and I understand their concern, but this project has nothing to do with that. We have no intentions of subdividing our land and putting up condos and resorts, and none of that is in play here. This change would uphold the value of our property. So currently, correcting the zoning error gives our property a single zoning classification. It corrects the zoning out of agriculture. It allows my wife and I to plan for our future. It's incorrect, and I think I understand there's a much bigger sort of policy that's taking place, and I know I said at the town meeting that I came forward, I put the $500 forward so that I could get a decision about this, and I don't really want to be sort of the poster child of this thing going forward, this much larger discussion that's going to happen within planning and zoning. So I think I'm willing to take any questions that any of you have, if that's.
Does anyone have a question for the applicant?
I do, sir.
Go ahead.
Mr. Sukup, did any of your neighbors have an opinion on this?
There were some letters that were
We
sent in.
don't have those, right, Jay, or
Jay, yes?
none were
No?
returned to you?
None were returned to the zoning office.
Okay.
They all went
Okay.
to the town.
They went to the town? Yeah. And I think they had relevant concerns. They were, they would rather not see, a great deal of subdividing going on near them. That's pretty much the basic bottom line, what their thoughts were.
And Jay, the town vote was unanimous too?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can pipe up, this is Kathy Peterson from next door, and I looked it all over, and it makes complete sense to me, and I've got to be Jim's closest neighbor on the side, so I'm fine with this. It makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
And is that a public road, that Forest Gate Lane?
No, it's not.
That's a private road.
No. Forest Gate Lane is a private driveway. Sunflower Lane is a private driveway. The closest public road would actually be Reynolds Road, which is actually shown right at the top of the map. That would be the closest public blacktop road that the town manages.
Okay.
The other two are private.
Thank you, sir. All right, does anyone out there want to speak in favor of this rezone? Does anyone want to speak in opposition to this rezone? Linda?
Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner. I submitted a slip. I'm speaking neither in favor or in opposition, but I want to take this opportunity to explain how parcels like this got split zoned. So since the original 1930 Sawyer County zoning, there have been basically two comprehensive revisions. One was when the state gave counties authority for shoreland zoning, and another one was a total map revision. So what happened, and I referenced a U.S. Supreme Court case that found some of this activity unconstitutional. In 1971, Northwest Regional Planning did the mapping of the county, and basically what they did is they just took maybe 300 feet along the edges of shores and made that recreational residential, and then anything outside of that might have been agricultural. So that is likely why we see split zone parcels. It was because of prior comprehensive zoning ordinance revisions. So it is possible that this parcel, as other parcels, became split zone just because somebody took and drew some lines on the map. So where I'm learning about this is from attending Washburn County zoning meetings and talking with some old-time surveyors, because the question that's coming before the Washburn County Zoning Committee, and one that needs to come before your committee, so I'm going to request that it's a future agenda item, is that there is the old model language in your zoning referring to official maps. And the original language says that official maps, I think, are filed with the county clerk or something like that. And so in my experience over the many years with the zoning office, I know that in the office there were the old Mylar maps and there's subsequent maps. And when there would be a rezone, those would get updated. In today's modern technology, there was a former system and now you're on Beacon. But I don't know that necessarily that those maps that you're looking at now are truly reflective as the official map, zoning map. So for a future agenda item, I think that an ordinance amendment needs to address what are the official maps and that you have a process that reflects that they're actually being updated on rezones. So again, neither in favor or opposed to this, but I think it does point out that if you look at the language of the RFP from Northwest Regional Planning, they're looking to basically do the same thing again. And if you think that this county board went through some problems with the borders of a lake district, wait till you look at rezoning all the towns. So please consider that also.
Okay, anyone else out there want to speak in opposition to this rezone? Not, I need a motion to come out of public hearing on rezone number 26-006, please.
I'll make a
Mr. Schuman.
motion, Mr. Chairman, that we come out of public hearing.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman, second by Mr. Karainen, to come out of public hearing on rezone number 26-006. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
Discussion action, Town Round Lake rezone 26-006, owner James Sokup and Sydney Ringheim. Legal description is previously read into record. Request is to rezone approximately 3.49 acres of agricultural 1 to residential recreational 1. As per action of the town board, they did approve the request, and they had cited as part of my staff report and findings of facts, number 2, 3, and 7. That is all.
Okay,
Okay, Jay, did the town leave any conditions on this or any things they want it done or properly?
Nope. Specifically, again, for rezones, you would not want to
Okay.
include any type of conditions.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve rezone 26-006 with the findings of facts similar to the town 2, 3, and 7.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion by Mr. Schuman and a second by Ms. Wilson to approve rezone number 26-006. Any more discussion? If not, roll call, Kathy, please.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Dale Magnuson.
Yes.
Kay Wilson. Tweed Schuman.
Yes.
Steve Carriennen.
Yes.
All in favor. Thank you.
Moving on, this is conditional use permits. This is a public hearing in the town of Radisson. Conditional use permit number 26-007, owner Eugene and Vicky Joe Hockensmith. Part of the southwest one quarter, the southeast one quarter, section 20 township. Not sure what the township and range 7 parcel 0227382043004 is tax ID 22631 is 10 total acres zoned agricultural 1. Permit is desired for a 12-foot by 24-foot woodshed as per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances Appendix D Section 4.26 Parent 1 with automatic conditions. The request is to allow for a 288 square foot woodshed on vacant land prior to building a primary dwelling. In conversations with the applicant, they are aware of the requirements to build a future dwelling and plan to do so. The conditional use permit is needed to keep an existing woodshed on the property prior to building the future house. The already existing woodshed is part of an order for correction process and would meet all other ordinance requirements, including applicable setbacks. As per my staff report, a list of potential conditions would be that a land use permit is required for the accessory structure within 1 year of the zoning committee approval. This is for the woodshed. That a land use permit is then also required and applied for the principal structure within 3 years of the date of the zoning committee decision. Failure to apply will result in citations with order for removals of the accessory structure. That the proposed accessory structure meet all other Sawyer County zoning and conservation requirements, including setbacks, and also compliant with all other state and federal laws. The size of the accessory structure not to exceed 288 square feet, and that no habitable area be allowed within the accessory structure. The town board did not have a chance to meet on this. We did send them the information. They, I guess, did not put it on their town agenda, so I would add another condition as part of my staff report prior to the conditional use permit being finalized, that it would also require town board approval. There were 4 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. No additional comments were received. That is all.
Okay, thanks, Jay. All right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 26-007, please.
I'll make a motion to go into closed hearing, public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson.
Second.
And a second by Ms. Wilson to go into public hearing on CUP number 26-006. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing. The applicant's here.
Good morning. I guess I'm here to
Can you
correct
state your name for the record, please?
Eugene Hockensmith.
Thank you.
I'm here to apply for the conditional use permit for my wood shed. A little background, the reason why my wife and I actually built the wood shed, because again, we do own 10 acres of heavily forested land. The reason why we put the shed up was to actually preserve all the trees that we are taking down so that we can actually build. Rather than leaving it in piles and going to waste, it was to literally both sides of the barn itself are for, one for maple, one for poplar. That's the only 2 types of trees I have on the property. In the center is where I store my wood splitters, things of that. My wife and I are very, because we don't live here, and we are very conscious of our neighbors and how our place appears to them. We didn't want things just laying all over the place. That was the intention of building the barn. It wasn't to deceive anybody, because literally you can see it from Weirgar Road. If my intentions were to deceive, I would have tucked it further back out there, but that was never the intentions of doing it whatsoever.
Okay, any questions?
And you do plan to build a dwelling here then within the next 3 years? Thank you.
Yes, my wife and I are planning on retiring up here. We love Sawyer County, we love Radisson. This is coming from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you all have heard what the latest is down there and the greatest. It seems like it's bi-weekly. There's the next great tragedy. We want away from it. We just do. We want to be up here.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. All right, does anyone out there want to speak in favor of this CUP? Linda?
Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner, not speaking in favor in opposition, but I would ask that when this committee makes your likely decision to approve this conditional use permit, that in your decision, so it's reflected in the minutes, reflected in the permission letter, and then going forward, doing that for the staff report in your future hearings, that you identify the date of when the application has to be taken out for the accessory building, and then how much time there is to build after the permit is taken out, and then also do the same thing for the primary dwelling. Because the general wording in these recommendations right now just seems to suggest that they have 3 years to take out a permit and build a building. And I think in light of the public comment I made at the beginning about the non-compliant and expired conditional use permit, if the decisions themselves included 1 year from today's date, whatever that is, for the permit, and then also the date by which time the dwelling has to be completed. And that would be a comment I would have for all your conditional use permits on the agenda today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else out there want to speak in favor of this CUP? Not? Anyone out there want to speak in opposition of the CUP? If none, need a motion to come out of public hearing on CUP number 26-007, please. Mr. Schuman.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. We come out of public hearing, sir.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Schuman, and a second by Ms. Wilson to come out of public hearing on CUP number 26-007. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is a discussion action, Town of Radisson, conditional use permit number 26007, owners Eugene and Vicky Jo Hawkinsmith. Legal description is previously read into record. Request is per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 4.26, Parent 1, with automatic conditions for the placement of an accessory structure on vacant land and being granted a 3-year time frame in which to secure additional permits to take out an additional land use permit for a primary dwelling, keeping in mind the findings of facts as well as possible conditions listed in my staff report. One of the additional conditions I would add that's not within the staff report, that this would also require town board approval because the town has not heard this request yet.
Okay, committee. Mr. Magnus.
I'll make a motion to approve CUP 26-007, including the conditions of 1 through 5 and the approval of the town board with the findings of facts of 2, 3, 7.
Okay. You have a second?
Second. Oh, sorry, Steve. I'll let
You want a
Steve in
second?
it. I'll let Steve.
Sure.
in it.
Thanks.
Okay, we have a motion. by
Which
Mr.
one?
Steve.
Steve's got
Mr. Magnuson, and a second by Mr. Kyainen to approve CUP number 26-007. Any more discussion?
I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Jay, you added town approval. Does it need to be approved by the town, or does it just need to be heard by the town?
I had indicated that it needed to be approved by the town, so your approval is conditioned upon town approval.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Mr. Magnuson?
Yeah, there is that, Linda is talking about that date. It's condition number 2 is 3 years from the date of the zoning committee decision, right?
Which is right now.
Right now.
Okay, all right. Not, can we have to do a roll call? Kathy, please.
Dale Magnuson.
Yes.
Kay Wilson. Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Steve Carrianen.
Yes.
Tweed Schuman.
Yes.
All in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing, the Town of Round Lake conditional use permit number 26-008, owner Matt Iverson, part of the northeast one quarter, the southeast one quarter. CSM number 7893 is tax ID 41522. It is 11.78 total acres, zoned forestry 1. Permit is desired for a 30 by 25 detached garage, 21 feet in height, per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 4.26, Parent 1, with mandatory conditions. As part of my staff report, again, this is to allow for, wrong folder. This is to allow for up to a 750 square foot garage on vacant land prior to building the primary dwelling. In conversations with the applicant, they first want to place the garage on the property and store materials and tools for the future house build. This is why the conditional use permit is being requested. The proposed garage would meet all other ordinance requirements, including applicable setbacks. The Town of Round Lake should also discuss the possibility of granting a future special use on the property in conjunction with the conditional use permit, as this property is zoned forestry 1, and that within 3-year time frame to take out the permit to build a primary dwelling, it would also require the special use permit approval process from the town. It should be discussed by the town that if the approval of the special use permit should be granted now in conjunction with the CUP or later when the applicant applies to the land use permit. I had talked with Frank about this, and maybe Kay, you can share some more information. I didn't know if you wanted to, get 2 birds with 1 stone on this, or if you wanted to wait another 3 years or potentially up to 3 years when the applicant submits a land use permit to build the dwelling, on whether or not they should go back to the town and be granted the special use permit. Sure, we can discuss that now.
We did approve the special use
Okay.
permit at the same time.
Yep, good. So again, up to a 750 square foot accessory structure on vacant land being granted the 3-year time frame to build the dwelling. We had heard from Supervisor Wilson that the town has also at this point granted a special use permit, which would allow the applicant then to build a residential structure within the Forestry 1 zone district. As a list of potential conditions, that a land use permit for the accessory structure be required within 1 year of the zoning committee approval, that a land use permit is required and applied for the principal structure within 3 years of the date of the zoning committee's decision, and built within that permit time frame. Failure to apply will result in citations and potential order for removal of the accessory structure. The proposed accessory structure to meet all other Sawyer County zoning and conservation requirements, including setbacks, and also complying with all other state and federal laws. The size of the accessory structure not to exceed 750 square feet in footprint and less than 21 feet in height, and that no habitable area is allowed within the accessory structure. In conversations with the applicant, they are planning on doing a storage loft within this garage, but it has been also reiterated back to the applicant that it is not to contain any type of habitable living area or overflow sleeping area. This is just for additional storage in the upstairs of that garage. Per action of the town board, motion was approved. James Strandland, town chair. Dan Palmer, supervisor. Kay Wilson, supervisor. Darren Jensen, supervisor. Marvin Scott Verbreck, supervisor. The town board of the town Round Lake, the town board of the town of Round Lake recommends approval of conditional use permit 26008. The applicant shall obtain a land use permit for the accessory structure with 1 year of approval, and failure to do so will result in cancellation of the conditional use permit. The applicant shall apply for a land use permit for the principal dwelling of the property within 3 years of the approval. The proposed accessory structure shall not exceed 750 square feet in size and shall be less than 21 feet in height. The structure shall not be used for habitation or residential purposes. All applicable Sawyer County zoning requirements, including setbacks and other dimensional standards, shall be met. The board reviewed the request of the conditional use permit to allow for the construction of a 30-foot by 25-foot detached accessory structure on vacant land, zone forestry 1. Prior to the construction of a principal dwelling, the board considered the application materials, the plan commission recommendations, county staff report outlining the applicable requirements of such request. The board acknowledged that under Sawyer County zoning, an accessory structure on vacant parcel require a conditional use permit, and the applicant intends to use the structure for storage related to the future home build. In making its decision, the town board found that the request satisfies the findings of facts numbers 2, 3, 13, as it supports orderly development, protects property values and tax bases, and contributes to maintaining suitable and healthy surroundings for future residential use. Signed, Frank Lucian, Town Clerk. There were 8 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. 0 additional comments were received. That is all.
Thank you. All right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 26-008, please, Mr. Magnuson.
I'll make a motion to go into public.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson.
No, second.
And a second by Mr. Karainen to go into public hearing on CUP number 26-008. All in favor, say aye to go into public hearing.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing. Applicant? Good morning.
I'm Matt Iverson, and I'm building a garage initially. Like he said, that's gonna be for storage, and then within 3 years, I'm gonna build a summer cabin for my family on this vacant lot.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for applicant?
Just, sir, are you agreeable with all the town recommendations?
Are you talking about,
Jay's?
let me just take a look here.
Well, the possible conditions and then what Jay stated
Yeah, as
for the
far as,
town.
property values, and you talk about,
Yep, and all
Yep.
setbacks. I see there's a pond there behind this garage.
yeah, that pond is a good 100 feet away.
Okay.
Maybe 150. Do you have a drawing?
I do, yep, we all
Bird's
do.
eye view? Okay. I also have photos of a staked out area, if you need those for any chance. We just did that a couple weeks ago.
No,
No, all right. I also have drawings of, you know.
just want to know if you're agreeable with those
Oh, yeah,
conditions.
so
Okay.
I have it here in my staff report. Promote public health safety, encourage planned and orderly land use development, protect property values.
So it'd be more so the conditions, not the findings of facts, so that, within 1 year, you have to take out a land use permit to build the garage. And I believe, you and I have worked together, and I'm sure you've already probably
I'm
dropped that
stopping
off.
on the way out.
Perfect.
And where do I go?
The zoning office, walk out this main door to the right, and then when you get to the main lobby,
You
to
got
the
it.
left. That a land use permit be required within 3 years to build the dwelling. So you still have to build the dwelling, right? Meets all other setbacks, which it certainly does, that the size is not to exceed 750 square feet, less than 21 feet in height, and no habitable living area would be allowed within that garage. Now, one of the other ones that I probably should add on to this, which I believe I briefly discussed with you, is that we would probably also require a site address. Now, a site address is eventually gonna be needed for when you build the dwelling.
I have the
And
site address.
Perfect, then we don't even.
They don't
need to
have the
list-
sign up yet.
Right, then we don't even need to list that as another condition if you've already applied for one. Great.
Oh, so I've got that on the land use permit, or do you need it now?
No, if you've already applied for it, then you're good to go on that, so. But I think what Supervisor Schuman is asking is, are you agreeable to all those conditions that we just
Absolutely.
listed? Thank you.
Great, thank
This is
you.
a family cabin, nothing else.
All right, thank you, sir.
Love Hayward. I'm coming here for 40 years, so. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, does anyone out there want to speak in favor of this CUP? Anyone out there want to speak in opposition of this CUP? Not, need a motion to come out of public hearing on CUP number 26-008. Mr. Schuman.
Yes, sir, I'll make that motion to come out of public hearing.
I'll second that.
And a second by Mr. Magnuson to come out of public hearing on CUP number 26-008. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action. I lost my sheet. Discussion action, the Town of Round Lake conditional use permit number 26-008, owner Matt Iverson. Legal description is previously read into record. Permit is desired per Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 4.26, Parent 1 with automatic conditions. This is for the placement of an accessory structure, and granted a 3-year time frame as to build the primary dwelling, while keeping in mind the list of conditions as well as findings of facts included in my staff report. Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, All right, committee, turn it over to you. Mr. Carrion.
I will make a motion to approve CUP number 26-008, subject to the conditions for approval 1 through 5, and findings of fact 2, 3, and 13.
Okay, we have,
And I'll second that, Mr.
okay,
Chair.
we have a motion by Mr. Cannon, and a second by Mr. Schuman to approve CUP number 26-008. Any more discussion? If not, roll call, Kathy, please.
Kay Wilson.
Yes.
Tweet Schuman.
Yes.
Dale Magnuson.
Yes.
Steve Carrion.
Yes.
Ron Buckles.
Yes.
All in favor. Thank you.
Moving on, this is conditional use permit number 26-009, Brian and Christine Fenner, part of government lot 1 of lot 3 of CSM number 1569, tax ID 32603. It is 5 total acres, zoned residential recreational 1. Permit is desired for a 40 by 30 accessory structure, 18 feet in height, across the town road, which is Hunter Lake Road, from where the primary dwelling is located. This is per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 4.26, Parent 2, with automatic and mandatory conditions. As part of the staff report, again, the accessory structure cannot be constructed on that part of the parcel containing the principal structure due to the inability to meet minimum setbacks. A 30 by 40 accessory structure would be extremely tight fit on that parcel containing the primary dwelling. There's a decent amount of slope on the lakeside portion that would require an extreme amount of fill material. The only level spot on the lakeside currently contains the drain field or sewer system. On the lakefront parcels, an exemption of 4.26 Parent 2 Parent A can be made if the zoning committee and the town determine in their findings of facts that placement of the accessory structure on the adjacent parcel divided by the public roadway would lessen the impervious surface impacts. The proposed structure, again, would be an extremely tight fit on the lakeside parcel. However, the proposed location would also lessen the impervious surface impacts. The proposed structure would now be approximately 450 feet away from the ordinary high water mark of Hunter Lake. The proposed adjacent parcel is within 66 feet. Yes, this parcel is immediately adjacent across the town road. The proposed adjacent parcel meets the minimum square footage requirements. This is also correct. The proposed structure would also meet all applicable setback provisions. The conditional use permit may be approved by the zoning committee in any zone district, providing the town has approved the conditional use permit and that a deed restriction or lot binding agreement is placed on the property. This would be one of the conditions as listed in my staff report, that a deed restriction or lot binding agreement would be required, and that in a platted subdivision, it would not exceed 1,200 square feet and less than 18 feet in height. This is not within a platted subdivision. Again, the applicant is requesting to place a 1,200 square foot accessory structure on the opposite side of the town road of Hunter Lake Road from where the primary dwelling is located. In conversations with the builder on the project, it was indicated that the Fenners recently purchased the property across the road in hopes of placing the accessory structure on that parcel. The larger slope aspects and sewer system location aspects were also communicated as part of this conversation. The applicant would not be allowed to create habitable living within the accessory structure and may not contain beds, bedrooms, or kitchen facilities. The current primary dwelling is on the lakeside parcel of this land and is divided by a town road. The proposed garage structure would lessen the impervious surface impacts and would be approximately 450 feet from the nearest point of navigable water. It would also meet all the provisions of 4.26 Parent 2. The proposed structure would meet all other setbacks. No pressurized water or plumbing fixtures are proposed for the requested accessory structure. It was also indicated that to the applicant and to the builder that an additional on-site inspection for wetland verification would be needed on this site prior to the issuance of a land use permit. As by listed as part of conditions within my staff report, again, no habitable area, including beds, bedrooms, or kitchen facilities or plumbing would be allowed. No commercial use operation would be allowed. The size of the accessory structure not to exceed 1,200 square feet and less than 18 feet in height. Must follow all other town, county, state, and federal regulations, including an additional town driveway permit. A Sawyer County land use permit would be required prior to the construction of the accessory structure, and prior to issuance of the land use permit, an on-site wetland investigation is required. The conditional use permit goes with the property, and that a lot binding agreement or deed restriction is required to combine the parcels, that they may not be sold separately. By action of the town board, motion was approved. John Zaralski, town chair, Dan Pluger, supervisor. Received a call from neighboring property owner Alan Thompson stating that he has no objections to the conditional use permit. Signed Jenny Pettit, town clerk. There were 12 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. 0 additional comments were received.
Okay,
That is all.
all right. I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 26-009, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion. We go into public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Schuman. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Ms. Wilson to go into public hearing on CUP number 26-009. So all in favor to go into public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing on CUP number 26-009. Is the applicant here? Let's step forward, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Brian Fenner, and I own the land and the cabin across the street from, or across the county road, from the 5 acres I just bought. Like was stated, the land I have now is on a real steep hill going down, so there's no really other place to build a shed. On top there is the drain field. So I bought the 5 acres just to put up a shed to store my boats, my truck, and any other vehicles I might purchase in the future. My wife would like to have a side-by-side, and we'll see about that. But either case, right now, all I do is I put tarps over my boats and that doesn't necessarily always work because you get some pretty windy, cold, wintry days, and when I come up here in the spring, sometimes that tarp is gone. So I would like to have the shed just strictly for storage. I don't plan on doing anything else with it, just storage.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay, thank you, sir.
Got it.
All right. We need, anybody out there want to speak in favor of the CUP? Anyone out there want to speak in opposition of the CUP? If none, need a motion to come out of public hearing on CUP number 26-009, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Karainen and a second by Mr. Magnuson to come out of public hearing on CUP number 26-009. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action in Town of Winter conditional use permit number 26-009, owner Brian and Christine Fenner. Legal description is previously read into record. The permit is desired for a 40 by 30 accessory structure, 18 feet in height across the town road from where the primary dwelling is located. This is in conjunction with the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 4.26, Parent 2.
Okay, committee.
Jay, did the town board list any findings of facts when they approved this?
They did not.
Okay.
I guess you could say that they found it was not contrary to public, not contrary to the neighbors, because they received one call from a neighbor that said they had no objections. That's all
Got
they
it.
listed.
Okay, Mr. Magnuson.
I'll make a motion to approve CUP 16-009.
26, Dale.
26, okay.
Yeah.
With the conditions, meeting conditions 1 through 7, and with the findings of facts of 2, 3, and 13.
Okay,
Chairman, would number 1 apply to this too, sir?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yep, number 1. Yep,
1, 2, 3, and 7?
sure.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
okay, all right, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson and a second by Mr. Schuman to approve CUP number 26-009. Any more discussion? If not, roll call, Kathy, please.
Tweed Schuman.
Yes.
Dale Magnuson. Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Steve Karianen.
Yes.
Kay Wilson. All in favor, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break here before we go on.
Thank you. Yeah, I seen that on the.
Okay, I call this zoning committee meeting back to order. Yeah,
Yeah, this is a plat review. This is the Rumsey Family Trust and DeYoung's. This is a certified survey map review. This is changing the lot lines outside of an existing county plat boundary. This requires zoning committee acceptance, conditional acceptance, or rejection. This property is located at 11148 Linden Road as part of the Round Lake Retreat subdivision. I have the map up on online right now. So what they're wanting to do is just slightly change this line between lot 1 and lot 2. Lot 2 is actually included as part of the Round Lake subdivision plat. Lot 1 is not, but this line is now changing that external plat boundary. By the requirements of Chapter 236 Wisconsin statutes, this type of certified survey map request, when you're changing those plat boundaries, does require zoning committee approval in order to do so. So again, it's a very small line adjustment. I believe the owners to the north are wanting to put like a shed just to the south of their house, and in order to do so, they needed to move this line like 8 feet further to the south. Both of the lots are still compliant with the ordinance requirements, but again, since you're changing the plat boundary, it does require approval of this zoning committee body.
okay. All right.
Was there any objection by the property owner to the south then?
No, they're actually part of the same family. And this was also reviewed and approved by the town of Hayward.
Okay.
Do you see any objections, Jay?
No.
Motion to accept it, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion.
I don't need to put a condition on this, right, Jay?
No.
Motion to accept.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Schuman. I'll second that. I want to get my name in there once in a while.
There you go.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the plat,
Survey map.
survey map. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. I just did voice one on that, Kathy.
That'll be fine. I'll need you to sign that eventually.
Okay.
Out. And then we move on to a preliminary hearing for a new subdivision plat. Let me just find my spot here. This is for the Fish Trap Lake subdivision plat. This is located in the town of Winter, the northeast 1/4, the southeast 1/4, section 14, township 40 north, range 5 west. It is consisting of two different parcels, parcel 0325401444101, which is 20.41 total acres, zoned residential recreational 1, and parcel 0325401444102, which is 20.26 total acres, also zoned residential recreational 1. The plat is for a 6-lot proposal, and this would be for 9 total lots within the 40.685 parent parcels. Again, this is a public hearing for the preliminary plat review as part of the county subdivision plat request. The applicant is seeking to submit for a plat consisting of 6 additional lots for a total of 9 lots of the original 40.6 acre parent parcel. The subdivider has already been approved for a certified survey map that has split the 40 acre parent parcel into 4 separate lots. This practice is commonly done in that 3 of the new children lots can be sold separately, while the larger lot 4 seeks approval of the additional lot splits through the county subdivision plat process. The larger lot 4 consists of 22.75 total acres, and that is the lot that is being proposed to be split into 6 additional lots, which does require approval of a county subdivision plat. As part of all the other, requirements there listed in my staff report, wetlands and slopes have been identified on the preliminary plat map. The zoning administrator, has conditionally approved the preliminary plat, and that we have determined as part of the zoning committee that all plats would be deemed necessary to complete a public notification and public hearing process. So we generally handle these similar to a conditional use permit process. The applicant has to attend the public hearing processes as part of the prelim and a final plat review. As technically speaking, as part of the subdivision ordinance, it does state that it may require a public hearing process, but previously this board or this committee has determined that we want to hear all plats as a public hearing process like that. Again, the subdivider, prior to 1 acre of earth disturbance, will need to submit for a stormwater management plan to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. All lots are to have town road access off of Log Lodge Road, and that all lots are to remain in the current zone district of residential recreational 1. I again have deemed that the application is complete. I would certainly open it to any additional questions that the zoning committee members may have before we also hear from, I believe it's the representative from Secluded Land Company, who is the subdivider for this plat process.
Okay. Committee, got anything you want to add to it?
It's in the town of Winter?
Yes.
Yes, this is in the town of Winter. The town board has motioned for approval. John Zarowski, town chair, Dan Pluger, supervisor, no additional comments, signed Ginny Pettit, town clerk. There were 8 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. 1 additional comment was received. I'm going to read that into record here. My wife, Deanna Cohen, and I received a letter and maps of the proposed conditional use permit and subdivision plat for the 6 lots that is adjacent to us. I understand the landowner wants to subdivide and sell off those parcels for homes. We own 2 10-acre parcels just to the north that were similarly platted and sold 20 years ago. So I guess we are all similar owners of a platted parcel, and not to complain on the general concept to the plat and sell 40 acres in a desirable location near a lake in the National Forest area. We could raise concern about the driveway location for 10 lots and lot 2 and impacts of our driveway, etc. I know Sawyer County zoning is pretty extensive and will cover most of the concerns on any home construction and likely driveways, etc., septic systems and such of the worries, and hopefully noise considerations. Did want to acknowledge receipt of the items that you sent. In summary, we do not oppose the conditional use permit. Hope there are some good neighbors eventually. It is a pretty area. This is signed Wes Slaymaker.
So all we're doing is you're looking forward to, or for us to approve this so we can get it into a public hearing with.
So this is
facts?
the preliminary review process. Now, you would want to open this up as a public hearing for the preliminary review process. And from there, you have the ability to approve, conditionally approve, or reject the preliminary plat. If you approve the preliminary plat, then it would set this to next month where you would hear the final plat approval process. And that you'd be signing off on the maps at that point.
So we're opening this up to a public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Jay, does the town have to hear it again then too? or
Yes, it would go back to the
Oh,
town
alright,
again
okay.
for a final. So we do these as 2-step process,
Okay.
a prelim process and a final process. This is the prelim process.
Okay, need a motion to go into public hearing for the Fish Trap Lake plat.
not? I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. We go into public hearing.
Okay, we
second.
have a motion by Mr. Schuman, second by Ms. Wilson.
Carry on.
Oh, Mr. Carrion, sorry, but to go into public hearing on Fish Trap Lake plat. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing as the owner here? Okay.
Applicant.
Applicant?
Daniel Stockert, 148 Main Street in Ferryville, Wisconsin, 54628. Good morning. Yeah, so we've seen you guys before. We were just in the town of Coudray doing a very, very similar process that went off without a hitch, a little bit different zoning there. I would say this town of Winter is a little bit more of a favorable area. We do have the town board approval. We did do a howdy meeting with them, which isn't standard, even prior to going to see them for preliminary plat. and everybody there was on board, including the public. During the preliminary plat meeting, there was no other public comment or neighbor concerns at that meeting. And as far as I guess, reply back to the letter about the driveways, all of the driveways would follow any current regulations or ordinances, so.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the applicant? No? Anyone out there want to speak in favor? Linda, go ahead.
Not in favor, not opposed. Maybe a favorable comment is if it's already R1, then this would be the place to subdivide larger lots as opposed to F1 and Coudray. My concern is that as I look at the notice and what is on the agenda, it says 6 lots, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but what I heard read were 9 lots. And so, again, what I heard is not what I see on a map, so I would appreciate if there would be clarification before a preliminary approval of what further subdivision could go on, and also if that subdivision of those larger parts at the bottom, how will they get access? Will it require easements? Will it require roads? It's not clear to me because it sounds like there will be future division, and how do those backlots get accessed? Thank you.
Hey, anyone else out there want to speak? Favor? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Not, need a motion to come out of public hearing on Fish Trap Lake plat, please.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ms. Wilson, second by Mr. Magnuson to come out of public hearing on Fish Trap Lake plat. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we have to go into a discussion with this.
Yeah, so you would end up making your discussion, because this does require zoning committee acceptance, conditional acceptance, or rejection. To adjust some of the, the comments that we had heard as part of the public hearing process. This is technically for a 6-lot subdivision plat. That is how it is listed here as part of the agenda item. The reference as to the 9 lots is that, again, when you're able to do up to a 4-lot certified survey map without doing a county subdivision plat. So we commonly see a subdivider come in, take a parent lot, split it into the 4 that they're allowed to do without even having to go through the plat process. They'll make lot 1, they'll make lot 2, they make lot 3, and then intentionally they'll keep lot 4 larger. Lot 4 then is the one that's seeking the plat to further subdivide that more. That further subdivision, again, has to go as a plat and not as a certified survey map. So if you're looking at the parent lot as a whole, it is going to be for 9 lots. The plat itself, though, is only requesting for the 6. Hopefully that makes sense. If those additional lots further seek subdivisions of them within at least a 5-year time frame, they would have to come back and seek additional plat approval. I have not heard from the applicant or from Secluded Land Company that they are, interested or looking at, further divisions of land here. All of these lots are to have access off the town roads, so even to get to those further backlot portions, it probably wouldn't be advised that someone's building, extremely far south, down on those southern lots. These lots were developed in such a way that they're more of like a flag design, where they would still be able to build a house close to the road and then have either like an ATV path or a dirt path that they could get further back to hunting opportunities south on their property. And ironically enough, the southern border is national forest. So I do think that, people that would be looking at purchasing lot 3 or lot 5 are looking at it for hunting opportunities. But still, to build a house closer by the road, even those narrow swaths that you're seeing by the road is still 100 feet in width. which meets the ordinance requirements for the lot configurations.
I got a question. We're gonna be approving 6 lots, and I just can't wrap my head around how, and there's gonna be a total of 9. I'm not sure how that works.
So it's the parent, so the parent parcel was this, and they did lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. That has already occurred.
Okay.
This has already occurred as a certified survey map. You guys would never see these. I have zoning administrator ability to do a 4-lot certified survey map.
Okay.
It's when you're doing more than 4 lots within a 5-year time frame, that requires a plat. So these are already done. These are already set in stone. It's that larger lot 4 that's now getting the split into 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this would now be a new 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll call this 9.
Okay.
It's these 6 lots then that are requesting of the plat. And that's what you can see is the darker shaded outline. Yeah, if you wanna, yeah, that would be great. So right, so this is the certified survey map that you guys haven't seen, but would be approved by zoning administrator abilities. Because again, it's not more than 5 lots within a certified survey map. But again, one of those is intentionally kept large, which is now what the plat is going over.
Okay, I see now. Yes.
So up on the
Okay, let's
screen,
see.
you can see that there's the shaded areas, which that is part of the certified survey map, and then the darker outlined areas. So again, it is 9 lots from this larger parent parcel, but I guess you can almost forget the 9 because the request is specifically for a 6-lot subdivision plat.
Okay. All right.
That's helpful, thank you, Jay.
Yeah, I usually like to, and we saw this, what is that one called? The one on LCO, I forget the name of it. Polly D's maple syrup one, you remember that one? Yeah, Danzig's. You know, they'd gone through a plat process and did a similar thing where they had a larger parent lot. They did, you know, lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, kept a larger lot 4, and then did a plat of the larger lot 4. But I always want to reiterate to the zoning committee that, you know, out of this larger parent lot, this is the total number of lots that are being requested. However, you're specifically looking at the plat, which might be a lesser number. And that's the case here. You're looking at the 6-lot plat.
Okay. Now we need to,
Approve, conditionally approve, or reject the preliminary plat.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat with the conditions that there's a stormwater management plan and all lots remain RR1.
okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
And a second by Mr. Magnuson to approve the Fish Trap Lake plat. Any more discussion?
Conditionally approved, right?
Conditionally approved. All right. If not, Kathy, let's do a roll call on this one.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Kay Wilson.
Yes.
Tweet Schuman.
Yes.
Marshall Savitsky.
Yes.
Steve Carrianen.
Yes.
All in favor. I am so sorry. Dale Magnuson. I used. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Marshall.
Thank you. I will fix that.
You have to accept Mr. Magnuson's second, not Marshall, though.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, moving on, we are looking, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Condition on a stormwater management plan, that's only, based off staff report, condition if we disturb more than an acre while it's within our hands, correct? I guess, I'm not sure where that condition came from.
I would have you reach out to the DNR to see whether a stormwater management plan would be required. Generally, for larger divisions of land and subdivisions of land, it would be anticipated that as part of this development, you would be in excess of 1 acre of earth disturbance, which would trigger stormwater management. So I'd have you reach out to them. If DNR is requiring stormwater management, this committee is requiring that stormwater management be included as part of that. So I'd have you as the applicant seek clarification from the DNR.
Okay.
Moving on to the solar ordinance amendments. I guess Rebecca is online. I'm just gonna kick it over to Rebecca then.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So what you have in front of you is the reviewed and updated version of the solar energy system ordinance. This week alone, I think I've appeared in front of 3 counties throughout the state to talk about solar ordinances and to talk about options, given the absolute boom that we are seeing not only for solar proposals, but also issues surrounding standalone BESS and the ongoing data center discussion, and even things at PSC seem to be changing almost on a daily basis. So when you are looking at this draft, it does look different than what you had in front of you last month. And that was very purposeful. And Andy and I, and frankly, we now have a renewable energy team within our office, have looked at this and talked about it, and to put Sawyer County in the best position possible, given the status of the state law, the framework of preemption, and the ongoing continual changes that we are seeing on a statewide basis. Also on that note, just be advised that as councils for WCA, we are also working very closely with WCA to address these issues on a statewide basis. Now, because I get to work with both of you, what you see in front of you also incorporates some of that work that we've done thus far with WCA. At WCA weekly leadership meetings, WCCA events, you may hear of additional updates for best practices and for recommendations on options that you can exercise. So as those continue to come out from WCA, I will certainly keep working with Jay and your county administrator to keep Sawyer County again in the best position possible. So with all of that introduction, you've got the ordinance in front of you. It is concise, direct, even though it's 14 pages. This is pretty concise for a solar ordinance, believe it or not. And one of the benefits of this ordinance is it does include a standalone BESS provision. Standalone BESS, again, BESS is battery energy storage system. Just a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, a standalone BESS that was not connected to a solar energy facility was unheard of. And then approximately 18 months ago, there was an application for one in Kenosha County. And so we developed Kenosha County's standalone BESS ordinance. It's the first one in the state. Now other counties are looking to do standalone BESS ordinances because there is an opening in state law that potentially gives counties greater regulatory authority over standalone BESS than other areas of renewable energy. PSC may not agree with that, but that's what we're exploring. So again, back to Sawyer County's ordinance, you have that in this ordinance. So I think that the fact that you now have these standalone BESS provisions is very good for Sawyer County, and it does provide some fantastic regulatory protection of how you can protect people, health, welfare, safety, and the natural resources of the county. So that's one item I wanted to point out. I think there was an earlier comment made that there was some categories allowed, certain systems as conditional uses, and then BESS were only referenced in some. That's very intentional because, again, this acts as a standalone BESS ordinance as well. So those are not errors in the draft. That's purposeful. I'm happy to answer any particular questions you may have. And again, we've done a lot of work on this, and I feel very confident in presenting this to you, that you truly have the best and the most cutting edge legal information possible that we can get to you right now. So again, happy to answer any questions.
Rebecca, I just got one quick question.
Sure.
So with this clean solar ordinance now, do you believe, and I think you do believe that, is it ready to go to the towns?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear.
Now, from a legal standpoint, it's ready to go to the towns. I know that for this committee's decision as to whether you want to send it to the towns, there's other considerations than just from a purely legal standpoint, and I fully respect those. So should the committee decide not to send it to the towns at this time, I think that would be a reasonable decision on your part as well. We could talk about those aspects, or risks, benefits, options on that point in greater detail. But from a legal perspective and from a legal review perspective, from a comprehensive standpoint, and from the best solar ordinance that we could possibly draft on a statewide basis, yes, this is ready.
Go ahead, Mr.
Jay, how long did we suspend this for? Is that kind of a sensitive timeline we're up against?
Yeah, so the moratorium would set to expire in May.
Towns haven't even seen it yet.
No, if the zoning committee so determines today to send it out to the towns, this would get a quick turnaround time and be sent to the towns as part of their April town board meetings. We at that point would hold an official public hearing at zoning committee here in April, and then still anticipate this going to county board for final ratification in May, where we would not have to extend the moratorium. Now, if there are additional concerns, considerations, and we're not meeting that moratorium deadline, we can do an extension on the moratorium, so don't feel like you're handcuffed on a time frame. But there is a time frame to still consider. Yes.
Jay, can I just jump in on that point? With respect to the moratorium, the county does have an option to extend it. However, given this would be the second extension, I would not put that as an easy option. We would have to be very careful in how we justify that additional need for time. Courts give a lot of scrutiny to the use of moratorium that are extended, I would say, more than once or twice, because of practices in the past by other towns and counties for using moratoria as a tool to just buy a whole bunch of time. That is not what Sawyer County is doing here. But again, given where we're at, just be cognizant of the fact that it would certainly be better if we did not have to extend that moratorium. And I understand, just given the pattern of how challenging it's been for county ordinances to work through the town review system. If that were to occur, I think in this instance it would be unfortunate. But if it does, you could consider extending the moratorium again. But I would have concerns as to whether town delays in approving would be a justification for the additional moratorium time. I'm not sure what a court would say about that. So just something to keep in mind when we're looking at the timeline and looking at the implications of all of the different issues you have in front of you.
Steve?
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to evaluate the risk of acting too fast or dragging our feet and being too slow. You know, what is the worst option? Are we better to, get in front of this right now and send it to the towns and get it going, or wait and see if the state does something 6 months from now that's going to change the whole framework for this?
Right.
For this issue.
Valid for sure. Ultimately, the state does have quite a bit of the provisions as it relates to the large solar facilities. That specifically goes then to the Public Service Commission, and counties are somewhat limited in what they can regulate as it relates to a large solar energy system. Rebecca can speak a little bit more, about that. The risk reward, we did have one request for a solar facility in the town of Round Lake last year. And that's what really kind of promulgated saying, hey, we need to get some type of ordinance here on the books. Now that was as for what would be considered a mid-scale. Again, large scale, we have very limited control. And one of the other things I definitely want to get out there on the record, because I've had a couple calls on it now as well, is this is not an ordinance that's regulating personal use solar at all. This is for solar facilities, not someone that's wanting to put up, a 400 square foot panel array so that they can supplement some of their power that's going to their house. That's not what this is a regulation for. That is going to be still as a permitted use. It is going to be viewed as an accessory structure, as a ground mounted array. And if you want to put up a couple hundred square feet to even up to a couple thousand square feet of panels to power your house, that's not what this ordinance is regulating at all. This is for larger facilities, 10, 20, 40, 160 acres of panels.
Okay. Go ahead, Kate.
So I went through this ordinance and had a few concerns. Are we going to go through the ordinance now?
Yeah, I would love to, yes.
In section 4, number E, why did we include forest for a BESS? I have concerns for that being located in forest. And what was your justification for forestry?
Yeah, so there was intent to that, and the justification was that as a standalone BESS system, you wouldn't potentially need to remove all of the trees within a forestry zone district. Now, the majority of the solar facilities that we do see, would be in an agricultural zone district. They're specifically looking at existing ag fields that are void of vegetation that they can just go in easily and put in their panels. The forestry one, we do have. For a BESS system, yep.
Yeah.
So for a BESS system, you wouldn't need to remove all the trees because you're not trying to gain sunlight to run those. Those BESS systems, the standalone BESS systems that I've seen throughout the state are directly in conjunction with other substations. A lot of the substations that we have may be in forestry zone districts. Now, if you want to eliminate forestry from that, sure, we could do that. You're gonna probably find people trying to rezone from forestry to ag just to get a BESS system in there, where again, a lot of our substations where you would see a standalone BESS system are probably already zoned forestry.
I guess I was considering fire in a forest.
Yeah, they're still gonna have to clear majority of that land, but they don't need to clear it for the sunlight. They'd have to just clear it for potential of a tree falling on one of those.
How does anybody else feel about it being in forest?
I don't think it's a consideration.
Okay,
Go ahead.
then in section 5, number E, there's an A. Interconnection of any A solar energy system. What is that A for?
That's a typo.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's my bad. That's a typo that didn't come out of the red line. Thank you for catching that.
Yep, and then F, facility identification signage. Is that like a driveway sign? So if we're 911, they know the exact location, like my house has 10850. Would they have,
I think it's even more than just a fire number sign. It's really to, have the emergency contact information listed in case there was an emergency of, basically like an emergency plan in place.
but would they need signage on their road? So for the fire truck or whatever?
Yeah, they're
when
gonna
they
have to
show
have,
up?
they're gonna have a site address for these facilities.
So do we need to add that then as a facility identification and site signage?
Rebecca, what are your thoughts on that? I would love to have a fire number associated with the main driveways to all these. Can we add that into that portion?
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea.
So facility identification, signage, and,
Like, did you cite signage with accompanying fire identification number or whatever your term of art is that you use for those? So add site signage and then including, site signage with fire identification number.
yep.
How about including like a phone number, the company phone number? So if somebody sees a problem, they can call the company.
I think that's what that second part of that sentence is getting at, is required with 24/7 emergency contact information. So I don't think the main intent of F was for the fire number, it was for, additional emergency contact information. But I like that we're adding in the fire number to
I
that
do
portion.
too. Just for ease of everybody to quickly access. Then in section 6A, under noise, a battery energy storage system shall comply with applicable county noise standards. I looked that up, and the noise standard is for 95 decibels. And the CDC says that a safe exposure to 95 decibels is only for 4 hours a day. And I'm concerned that they could go up to 95 decibels. And I don't know how noisy these things are, but if they can be that noisy, that would be a problem.
So it's 6A, or,
6AH.
That's a great question, Supervisor Wilson, and this is where I love these questions and discussions. If there is a concern between those, what your research has uncovered in terms of a more appropriate noise standard for a standalone BESS versus what the county noise standards are, we can certainly modify this 6AH to include, you've got a couple options here. We could include a specific number of the decibels, or you could say that the BESS shall comply with recognized industry standards, and then identify that source material that you referenced. That would be appropriate. And then that way, if, as technology changes or best practices changes within the industry and this technology, then your ordinance flows with that. Some counties choose to use those types of standard, not only for, I haven't seen it for noise, but I think it's a good one for noise. But also in terms of emergency response, fire protection, and other very technical components of these systems. And so rather than setting explicit standards, we look to, again, best practices and professional objective standards as the reference. So again, going back to this section, you could modify for compliance with a specific number or shall comply with industry standard. I think those are the two best options to, to narrow the scope of the noise that would be permitted.
Personally, I think industry standard would be more appropriate than trying to put a number on it, a specific number. But then I don't know what the industry standard is.
Yeah, I don't either.
Supervisor Wilson, can you give me the site again for the information that you located?
I got it from off the CDC. It said the safe exposure is 4 hours a day.
Okay.
For 95 dB.
We could, I think we could use that. I think a developer might challenge that the CDC is not as applicable, or it's not the best industry standard, and then push back on that. But there are other industry standards from renewable energy organizations out there. So this may be something I could have our law clerk, who bills at a lesser rate, look into to see if we can find the best industry standard. And then Jay, we could fill that in.
Would we want that for 6G as well?
Well, I didn't think that solar would need that. What's noisy about solar?
No, probably not. No, generally, most of the solar facilities that I'm seeing, they do have some type of BESS system, on site, but generally they'll centrally locate the BESS unit with the panels around, which also helps mitigate the noise of that humming that you would have from the storage container.
Well, if we have it in one area, we might as well have it for the other.
Right.
Okay.
So in the aspects of wanting to move this still forward, I mean, what line items should we change in there? I'd hate that the noise aspects, push this back another month. I'd like to get them figured out now today so that we can still move this forward.
Yeah.
Did you have any potential wording or language that we could add in for 6G and 6AH? Yeah,
what I would do, our law clerk is here today, but even before we get that, that specific reference for industry standard, I think it is appropriate to use just the language of shall comply with best practices and industry standard, because those are legal terms of art. So if they were ever challenged, we would already have the basis within the ordinance to use those resources that we want to identify. So I think it is, again, for 6G and 6AH to just add that language. And then that is, so when the committee takes their vote, that language is included in the modified version that would be sent to the towns.
I'll make a motion to add that language to the ordinance.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion.
Are there any, before you take action on that, if I may, are there any other potential revisions you would like to discuss or questions?
I wasn't done. Sorry.
No,
I was moving on to section 8. C, what is a local operating agreement? We don't have a definition for that?
Oh, Supervisor Wilson, you hit on one of the most talked about issues right now statewide. No, there is no definition for local operating agreement, and that's on purpose. Oftentimes you will hear, if you do research on these matters, you'll hear references to joint development agreement. That's kind of the term of art that you will hear in large-scale renewable energy projects that technically PSC has exclusive jurisdiction. However, Andy and I have come to the conclusion that there are other mechanisms that counties may use leverage in order to offset the impacts of large-scale facilities. So what a local operating agreement does is sets a contract between the county and either the developer and the utility that addresses the impacts of the project. Now, you may recall last month in the draft we had an exhaustive list of everything that should be contained in a local operating agreement. We purposely took that out because of other legal issues and frankly strategy that we see in not including them. So again, I please realize that was very intentional for removing that list, again, for legal strategy reasons, not just for Sawyer County, but on a statewide basis. And while there is no definition, I think we should keep that as no definition simply because PSC uses terms like JDA or sometimes they will use local operating agreement. And, we can certainly, in fact, we may want to not capitalize operating in agreement and local throughout the paragraph. So it is intentional that it is not a defined term. But I can assure you, if there were ever a large-scale development proposed in Sawyer County, we would have lots more discussions on what that local operating agreement would look like.
Then I had a suggestion that C should be moved to the very end of section 7 because it talks about A is application and review, conditional use permits is B, then D is application requirements, then I think at the bottom of page 11, it says B, but it should be E.
Did we miss something there?
Those are all conditional use, coordinating what you need to do, and then at the very end should have the large scale.
Yep, I like that.
Not to stick it in the middle of everything else.
Yeah, I like that. Jay, I don't know if you have thoughts. No, I like that. And that's why this is so great that we can have all the different eyes on this and have the discussion, because I think the reason we had it at C originally, again, was because of the strategy in having a more defined local operating agreement. But the way that this draft is, I think it makes sense to move it to
right.
What would be
right before 9? Yeah,
right before 9.
Rebecca,
Yeah.
with what I'm hearing here, this is no way ready to go to the towns, no way. Because you keep changing all this
Needs
stuff,
to be rewritten.
it's gotta be rewritten. You just can't write it in and send it to the towns.
Why not?
These are just minor changes.
I guess I don't know why, but if we're adding that all in there now, and legal looked at this and was told it was ready to go to the towns, now within discussion, we're finding all this other stuff that needs to be added in there. So my concern is that it's not ready to go to the towns.
Well, Chairman, can I
Yes, go ahead,
add something?
go ahead.
We're just making edits. And
Yes, but
I
it's
think
supposed to be ready to go to the
Regal is
towns.
gonna add these edits as we're discussing here, and then it can go to the towns. That's my thought.
I
Whatever.
had one more thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry. On section 9, B, it says decommissioning is required upon abandonment or cessation of any operation for 12 months. Is that supposed to be for 12 months or within 12 months?
It should be, it was intended to be for 12 months of a continuous period.
So that they can decommission for 12 months?
No, decommissioning must commence if there are no operations for 12 months. So
That's how I read that too. Decommissioning is required if abandonment or cessation is for 12 months.
and the reason we have that at 12 months is because oftentimes, we're looking at the operation as a whole. And sometimes certain portions will go offline due to maintenance or other issues. And so from a efficiency standpoint and an overall grid standpoint, that 12 months is kind of the rule of thumb, if you will. And also the reason it's 12 months is because that ensures motivation, because there will be financial assurances as well.
And then is there any requirement of how long they have to decommission? I don't see that.
No, there's not. And I would say certainly we can look at adding that, but the reason we don't have that is because it's so different for each type of project.
But they have to be laid out within the plan, and you're also reviewing the plan as part of the approval. Right.
So,
Because the decommissioning plan is required for a BESS or community scale and mid-scale. So within that decommissioning plan, they would indicate the time frame in which they would have to decommission. Right.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Jay, that you want to give the county the flexibility to review each decommissioning plan on its own terms. And so by putting a deadline within the ordinance itself, we don't have that flexibility. I also have concerns under the Eckert Brothers case that if we include that in Section 9, we're starting to get towards the type of ordinance that is prohibited by that case law. So I think a better strategy would be, obviously we've got it in the requirement of a submission for the decommissioning plan. Then when that decommissioning plan comes in, then the deadline is very closely scrutinized for that particular development.
So in Section 9A, could we just add that a decommissioning plan with timeline is required?
How about a detailed decommissioning plan with timeline? Or just a decommissioning plan with timeline? That's fine too. If there are concerns about deadlines.
Right.
Kathy, are you getting all these edits?
I am.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to my,
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
No, Supervisor Wilson, these are great questions. And, I know you have a lot of information in front of you. But I do think that this is still ready to go to the towns. I will make these edits for Jay as soon as our meeting concludes. We're fixing a typo. We're adding fire identification number. We're adding best practices for noise standard and moving a paragraph, and then just clarifying what a decommissioning plan is going to require. So what is that, 6 edits? But these are points of clarification. I don't see these as material changes. If we started shifting what we were defining as a community scale, or we were making more significant edits that had legal implications, then I would say, yep, let's go back and redo this. So again, I leave it to you. It's your policy decision, but from a legal standpoint, I do think this is ready to go to the towns. And also, I would just remind you to be mindful of the moratorium issue. I am not counsel for legal towns. However, I hope that towns, if they have questions, will reach out to legal counsel. WTA has resources. Larry Konopecki, who is WTA's legal counsel, and I have worked together on many projects. And I hope that solid resources are utilized in town review. Because if this is not passed, I hope everyone would understand the ramifications of not having an ordinance like this in place.
Mr. Karainen, go ahead.
Well, I guess I'm just concerned that we may have missed something in our haste to rush through this here today. Are you confident we haven't missed anything?
I am. And usually I don't speak with this much confidence, I'll be honest, because there are so many unknowns in every zoning issue that you look at. But the amount of time and the amount of commitment that Andy, myself, Wisconsin Counties Association, and again, this week alone, 4 other counties that I've been to are dealing with these very issues. This is a very comprehensive ordinance and the most updated legal product you would get from anywhere. And I don't say that to boast at all. It's just that we have committed such an incredible amount of resources, and WCA has committed so many resources to renewable energy in Wisconsin that we have utilized all of that work and effort in this ordinance.
I do note one other typo, I believe.
Okay.
Section 8D, the second line there, the last word in that line is hal. I believe it should be shall.
8.
6B is in boy or D is in
D is in dog.
Yes, that should be shall. That's another red line item. And I will have my assistant who doesn't bill give this the final I for typos too. She will do that this morning. A lot of these happen in the conversion from the red line to the clean. And frankly, given my schedule in the last 3 weeks of how many counties I've had to visit to talk about these issues, Jay, it was me that did not get that red line back. And so Jay was left scrambling to get this posted in time for your review. So again, using all of the information that we've been gathering over the last 4 weeks that's incorporated into this ordinance. So these typos are totally on my end, and I will have my assistant give this another set of eyes to make sure we do not have any other typos of that nature.
Marshall, you got something you want to say?
Yeah, Rebecca, is that on section 6, there's a 150-foot setback from any public roadway. Is that pretty standard?
Say that again, please. Which section?
Section 6, you have a setback on there of 150 feet from any public roadway. Is that pretty standard across the state?
I would say yes. For these types of projects, yes. And keep in mind that this is the project boundary. So when you think of a solar project, you think of, the panels themselves, any accessory buildings. But the project boundary is going to be almost like an additional buffer area. And so that's what we're referring to here. Just to give an equivalent state, right-of-way or state highway setback is sometimes in certain circumstances 100, now sometimes it's 50. So this is one that is not legally required to be 150. So if the committee feels that it is too much, you can modify this. But I would say 150 is, I see that number pretty frequently throughout the state.
Okay, Mr. Magnuson has a motion on the floor to approve.
Okay, yeah, I want to revise my motion there a little bit to include all the conversation we had with Rebecca here. The motion started with the noise issue and including the best practice and industry standards for noise that Kay wanted there. And then, of course, my motion will include all of Rebecca's items that she went through about the typos that we discussed, and the fire number, including the fire number, and to move that one paragraph that that Kay suggested. So my motion includes all them items that we discussed just now.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson. Do we have a second?
Chairman, is that to send it to the Townsend with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah, I'd like Jay to get this revised and sent to the towns.
Can you second it?
I did.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor to send the solar ordinance with the changes that was brought about typo errors to the towns. Any more discussion? Roll call, Kathy, please.
Steve Carriennen.
No.
Kay Wilson.
Yes.
Ron Buckholz.
No.
Dale Magnuson.
Yes.
Tweet Schuman.
Yes.
3-2, approved.
And if I can make one final comment, Jay, I can confirm this with you as well. I'm happy to reach out to Attorney Larry Konopecki to ensure that WTA can communicate with the towns, and so the towns get the very best information possible as they review this ordinance. And hopefully we can avoid some of the questions and challenges that, towns may have experienced in the review of other ordinances, because this is a highly technical area. And it's a very important ordinance for everyone to have appropriate legal expertise looking at.
Yeah, I would like that. That'd be great.
All right, thank you, everybody, for that discussion. Very interesting. So number B, approval of the zoning ordinance rewrite bid proposal. Discussion/action to approve the bid.
Yeah, so this conversation has been ongoing for the better half of a year. The previous county administrator, myself, legal counsel, we've looked, for years at our current zoning ordinance structure. There are several identified inconsistencies within that general zoning ordinance. There are provisions that are what I would assume to be very out of date in reference to other adjacent counties and counties throughout the state. This ordinance has been cobbled onto over the last several decades, and it really at this time needs a fresh revision to it. Now, whether that's as a full comprehensive rewrite or if it's a series of large revisions, I still firmly believe that there are changes that need to be made in order for me to properly administer the code correctly. We had then sent out back up a second. We did get approval from a capital improvement project request. There was discussions at this committee, and it was also then brought to the County Board of Supervisors as part of a capital improvement project to do a zoning ordinance rewrite. That was approved last year. At that point, I had sent out requests for proposals in conjunction with the creation of the request for proposals with county administrator, with legal counsel. I'd sent that out to 7 identified consultant agencies throughout basically the Midwest that have done work with zoning ordinance rewrites before. Out of those 7 consulting groups that were identified, as well as being listed on the county website, only one has proposed a bid proposal back to us, or has submitted a bid proposal back to us. So we have the bid proposal from Northwest Regional Planning Commission. That is included as part of your handouts here today. It is not, as an attachment online, because these are somewhat proprietary requests that they are submitting to us, as well as their bid amounts. So at this point, the committee can either accept the loan bid amount for the $91,440, or we can postpone this, resend this out, looking for direction from this committee as to which way we want to proceed. But again, there are several identified issues within the current ordinance that, again, make it a lot of gray area and frankly impossible for me to administer it properly.
Well, I agree with you, Jay, that we need to take a look at our zoning ordinances, because we are having so much problems and flack with it. I just wish there was a little cheaper way to look at it, but I don't know, I would think there would be some way that we could do this.
Yeah, Chairman, I got a comment.
Go ahead. I mean, I ain't
Yeah, I'm
spitting
a
out
little
what I want.
concerned we only got one reply, and it seems to me like they probably already knew our budget for this.
Well,
I don't know, we already pay Northwest Regional Planning, how much, Mike, a year? We give them 3, 4, 5,000, or maybe more.
No, we pay them right around 37,000, I believe.
37,000?
Yep, to be part of their
Is
consortium.
that gonna come off this bid price?
No.
Well, see, I would want another bid price.
Yeah, I know. I mean, when I was meeting with Jay this morning on the agenda, he said he sent out other ones, but this is the only one that we got back. I myself would like to see it resent. I don't know about the other committee members, but one's just, and it's Northwest Regional Planning. Not that I'm against them, but
Right, me either.
I'd
be in favor of that,
conflict of
Chairman.
interest,
Yeah,
you know?
but we gotta hear from these other folks.
Go ahead, anybody else? Go ahead, Mr. Karen.
I would concur with the chair's feeling on this. I'd like to see more than one bid myself.
I also agree.
Okay. Marshall, you want to say anything?
Maybe the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
So if I've already sent it out to the 7 and only got the one back, ultimately I'm gonna have to change the RFP. I'm not sure how that works from a policy and procedural standpoint. If this has gone out, this was the loan bid that we got returned, and now we're just going to deny the bid and send out a second RFP in hopes that additional consulting groups would submit bids. I just want to be in any type of limbo where we denied this bid and now NWRPC comes back and says, well, how did you deny it? We were the only one that's.
We always reserve the right to deny any and all bids.
Okay.
So we have good standing that way. We can reissue an RFP.
You need a motion?
Need a motion?
Jay,
Well, I guess-
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Just a couple thoughts here. Take them, just my 2 cents observations. I can understand why there are concerns that there's one bid. I will say that throughout my travels throughout the state, people are aware of the challenges that Sawyer County faces when it comes to zoning. And from my perspective, that underscores the need for a comprehensive revision. But the amount that's been budgeted for this project is a significant amount. But there's also a significant amount of work that goes into the comprehensive revision. But I think you should also look at it as if you continue to cobble through with your existing code, what you are spending on staff time, meeting time, my time, because the code that you have now, as I've said before, is concerning from a legal standpoint. So I think, undertaking a comprehensive rewrite is going to save time, money, etc., county resources in the long run. But know that the lack of responses may, again, this is just my impression, may be due to the challenging issues that Sawyer County faces from a zoning and land use standpoint. So just something to keep in mind. Another option, all are right that you reserve the right to reject the bid and then put it back out for bid. Jay and I worked together on the RFP. We could revisit that, but I will say that we worked very hard to make sure the RFP identified the legal deficiencies and the challenges that your code has presented in the past. So I'm not sure we would want to change the RFP too much. There may be some things we can do in looking at the pricing structure. Again, this is just what I've heard, but knowing the amount of effort it has taken for one ordinance to go through approvals, not shoreland, through the towns, it's a long time and it's very expensive for Sawyer County. And so consultants may be very hesitant to undertake the project for that cost, given that Herculean effort that we've seen before. That being said, the comprehensive rewrite option under the statutes also it presents options for the county that can address those difficulties. So that would be another reason I highly recommend that you pursue the comprehensive revision. But yes, back to the pure question of the RFP, you can reject, you can accept. You could also, if you wanted to ask Northwestern Regional and Sheldon follow-up questions, you could do that as well. So you do have options, but I want to underscore the importance that I see for a comprehensive revision under 5969. I've had the privilege of assisting Sawyer County for several years on zoning issues. There's a reason that Atolis is your outside counsel for zoning, because these are complicated issues. And if we had a better zoning code, it would make things easier. You're still going to have complicated zoning issues, but having a good code is the first step in working through a lot of those issues.
Well, I agree with having to need a new comprehensive zoning ordinance. Because what Jay has gone through, and I've been involved in a lot of the flack that he gets over different things, that he's not right, this is not right. Well, let's make it right. But I'm just not sure if I want to go with just this one bid.
And I think you have support for that decision, Chairman.
Jay, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I think we would need to restructure the RFP slightly. As part of the CIP request, it was earmarked for $100,000 as part of a comprehensive revision. Now that number, didn't come out of thin air. There was a separate comprehensive revision that was done for Bayfield County, and they submitted out an RFP at $80,000 and maybe they got 2 bids back. One of those people that they ultimately signed on with I believe are very timid in wanting to do another one because they've gone well over what they were anticipating would be involved with Bayfield's revisions. The other county that I reached out to that has recently gone through a comprehensive revision is Portage County. Portage County is at $225,000 for their comprehensive revision at this point.
Okay.
So keep that in mind.
So we don't need to make no motion, nothing on this, do we?
Well, I think you would want to.
Well, yeah, because it says a discussion and action.
And help me, Rebecca or Mike, as to the proper process here, because again, I don't want to be afoul of a bid process.
Yeah, what I would recommend, in anticipation, if the committee is inclined to not accept this bid, that the motion be for staff, administrator, council, whomever, to revisit the RFP, and let's see if, based on some of the responses you got, Jay, and based on some of what we know in terms of why we may not have received additional bids, we can revisit that RFP and then put it out again. So at least we're tweaking it, and certainly we can have those discussions offline to not waste the committee's time. And then if you wanted to bring the RFP back to the committee for approval, I apologize, I don't remember the process that the county requires, whether that RFP comes back or goes to a committee for approval, and then reissue it. So again, take the information that we have now, tweak the RFP, and then in hopes that we receive more bids to choose from.
All right, so one sentence, what should the committee do here?
Again, assuming, motion to not accept the bid proposal as submitted and direct staff to reconsider and modify the RFP proposal and then reissue the RFP.
Perfect.
That's a lot of words, Rebecca.
I know, but we hit 3 points. Reject, revisit, reissue.
There you go.
I sound like a cartoon.
I guess I have a question regarding, we've got a breakdown of the budget cost and cost management, and there's a number of phases involved here. And I'm just wondering, are there any of those phases that we could do in-house? I'm thinking we've got quite a mapping ability in the zoning department, I believe, and there's $9,400 there. So is there a chance to do the mapping in-house and take a little bit out of what we're farming out?
Yeah, and I'd have to go back to Northwest Regional Planning to see if they would, allow that to be done in-house. I mean, I can't go initially to a bid proposal and say, change your bid without approval of this committee, so.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good point to mention, and I
But we
think
can
if we
tweak the
submit.
RFP to include that.
Right.
And even in the RFP include certain language that you would like responses on elements of the work plan that could be cooperatively performed in-house. That would be a good option. So then they can, the bidder can help identify what elements could be done in-house as they, do the strategy meetings with Jay. Every county is different in terms of what resources are available in-house from a particular standpoint. And I can talk through this with Jay as well. But in my experience in assisting other counties with this process, I would caution that you don't want to do too much in-house because it ultimately ends up costing more money because of the lost staff time and then because of the increased cost in legal review. So just be mindful of that.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if we're gonna do it all in-house, we don't need to rewrite, they put the bids out for it, but, I agree we could do some in-house if we can. So do we have a motion in a second? What?
We don't have any motion on it.
Oh, I didn't think so. Don't speak up at once.
Your motion could be, we reject the bid, we direct staff to revisit the RFP, and then we reissue the RFP. Just some suggested language with less words.
Okay, that's a good one for you, make a motion.
I'll make a motion to reject, revise, and revisit
Very good.
the,
And reissue?
yeah, and reissue.
Okay.
She did the hard work and I'll second that motion.
Oh, geez, all right.
I should probably say what we're,
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. So, any other business that may come before this committee for discussion? None? If not, I want to thank everybody. We're adjourned.
so that motion should say for the ordinance revision, or the,
Zoning ordinance.
yeah. Shouldn't just
Yeah, right.
stop there. What we were talking about.
Goodbye, everybody, and let me just say, fantastic job. These are hard issues.